Pretty smoky, pretty bad. Couldn't even see the blue sky this morning. Couldn't see the strip.
Now at 11, California wildfires causing unhealthy air quality across the valley. Sally Jaramillo is in the Weather Center with a look on how long it will last. And
I'm Madison Kimbrough live at the Las Vegas ballpark where we sat down with Vegas swimmer and Olympic silver medalist Erica Sullivan.
Plus, the dark side of COVID-19. We spoke with some who encourage everyone to take precautions to prevent the worst from happening. We are live, local, now.
Now, this is 8 News Now, Weekend Edition. Live, local, now.
Good evening. Thank you so much for joining us tonight at 11 o'clock. I'm Sasha Loftus. It was very smoky here all across Las Vegas today. Sally Jaramillo is joining us tonight in the Weather Center with more on that air quality. And Sally, still pretty unhealthy out there, right?
Sasha, wildfires in Northern California triggering unhealthy air quality for the Las Vegas Valley. Smoke over southern Nevada has cleared away to the north this evening, but additional smoke near Bakersfield, California will spread again our way later tonight into your Sunday morning. Outside right now, we are tracking mostly clear conditions and checking out that humidity for you, relatively low at 10%, southwest wind staying 7 miles per hour. Checking out those current temperatures, Las Vegas 93, Henderson 88, Nellis 91, but coming up, we do have a lot to talk about. Another day of smoky, hazy skies. Breezes on the way before we talk more about the return of monsoonal moisture. Back to you.
And Sally, as you mentioned, the Clark County Department of Environment and Sustainability issued an alert for smoke and ozone today due to that wildfire smoke drifting in from Northern California. Many people woke up this morning to this, a smoky sky where the strip wasn't even visible. Pretty crazy. The smoke can obviously make it very difficult to breathe, even for those that don't have respiratory diseases like asthma. Exposure can induce coughing, wheezing, and shortness of breath. We caught up with some people playing disc golf at the park today who say the smoke made it hard to breathe.
Couldn't see airplanes, hardly even leaving the airport, so pretty bad. I won't even let my daughter go out. She's bad asthma, so we didn't want to go out today. So she'll have to hit her inhaler, I'm sure, a couple times today, more than often if she goes out.
Since this morning, the sky has cleared up quite a bit. Visibility is now a lot better than it was, but still expect that haze again, as Sally said, through the weekend, as the smoke isn't expected to clear until Sunday into Monday. And in the meantime, some tips to help with these conditions. Keep windows and doors closed. Run your air conditioner inside your house and your car. Reduce driving and combine your errands into one trip. And don't forget to change your indoor air filters if they're dirty. Well, an Olympic medalist is back home in the Silver State. Local swimmer Erica Sullivan took silver at the Tokyo Olympics. Now that she's back here in the Valley, she shared her experience with fans at the Las Vegas ballpark tonight. Madison Kimbrough joins us live from downtown Summerlin with more. Madison.
Yes, Las Vegas local Erica Sullivan is officially an Olympic silver medalist, and we got the chance to sit down with her here at the Las Vegas ballpark to hear how this win is historical on so many levels.
My dad's rule was just like, we have a pool in our backyard, just being, Vegas kid. He said, I want to be able to turn away and she can still swim pretty okay.
As the daughter of a collegiate swimmer, we'd say she has exceeded okay, as she is now a USA Swimming Member Olympic silver medalist. At just 20 years old, Erica Sullivan captured the silver medal in the first ever women's 1500-meter freestyle, a feat that has never been done before until now.
This race is considered historical because prior to this Olympics, the 800 was as high as what they allowed women to do. So this is historically the first 1500-meter freestyle ever in the Olympic Games.
To be a woman, one who is of Asian descent and a part of the LGBTQ+ community, bringing this medal back home to Vegas, where her love for swimming began, means everything.
Because I'm Asian American and I was able to do it in Japan, and I'm also a queer woman, so and just me being very, pro-woman, so to speak, getting to do a historical women's event just really hit home to me.
Due to the coronavirus, the Olympics were put on hold back in 2020, but Sullivan says she is just thankful she got to be a part of the 2021 Tokyo Games, her first time competing in the Olympics.
Honestly, there was a point when we didn't even think the games were going to happen, and we had this hanging fate over our heads where if one of us tested positive, we were all going to go home. It was a dream, honestly, getting to be with 6 other girls who are your closest friends that you've known for a few years, and work as hard as you can for a common goal, which is bring home some medals for Team USA.
And now that Sullivan is back home in Vegas, what is her next move? College, as she will start her freshman year at the University of Texas at Austin in the fall. Reporting live, Madison Kimbrough, 8 News Now.
Madison, thank you. In other news tonight, the Bullhead City Police Department is mourning the loss of one of their own tonight. The department noted in a Facebook post earlier today that Lieutenant Nick Sessions passed away Friday night after a prolonged fight against COVID-19. Lieutenant Sessions served with the department for more than 22 years. From testing to vaccines to funerals, it's the dark side of COVID, but it is important to talk about. Funeral homes are still overwhelmed, and there are fears if more people don't get vaccinated, it's just going to get worse. I spoke with one woman who's seen that dark side firsthand.
She was the funniest lady.
Erica Casal describes the light and love of her grandmother, Marlene.
She was a total glam queen.
Their memories she now cherishes after COVID-19 cut time short last November.
It went from, pneumonia to pancreatitis to her kidneys until it finally just took her.
It's excruciating to talk about, but Casal wants others to understand the trauma this virus brings.
When your family member is dying and you can't hold their hand because of the severity of COVID, you can't say your final goodbye, and your final goodbye is through a glass door. I mean, that will change you.
Unfortunately, Marlene's story is anything but rare.
The numbers are increasing. We're seeing it every day get a little worse.
Funeral director Laura Sussman says her team has been overwhelmed since the pandemic started. And while things got better for a few months, 1/3 of those she sees now have died from COVID complications.
I don't think the general community has any clue about the severity of this. It's coming back, and it's only going to get worse.
That's why Erica is urging everyone to protect themselves and those they love from this very same fate.
When it does happen to you, it changes you, so you really should take extra precautions.
Laura Sussman tells me when someone dies of COVID, they can still infect others up to 2 days after they die. This makes things difficult for those at the funeral home, and it also makes it harder for families to say goodbye. Meantime, a new CDC report shows an extremely low number of adverse effects associated with the COVID-19 vaccine in kids. The agency says out of the nearly 9 million children ages 12 to 17 who received their shots by mid-July, there were less than 10,000 reports of adverse health effects. Of those bad reactions, 90% were non-serious conditions such as dizziness and headaches. The small percentage of severe adverse events included some instances of heart muscle inflammation called myocarditis. And long-lasting symptoms from COVID-19 are rare in children, according to a new large UK study. Researchers looked at data on more than 1,700 children who tested positive for COVID and found those who do develop symptoms usually get better after 6 days, while a low number have symptoms that last beyond a month. Taiko drums are a Japanese tradition dating back to 500 AD. The booming beats have been used throughout history by the military for communication, entertainment, and more recently, social movements. Jacqueline Abad shows you the centuries-old art form.
Taiko means drum in Japanese. The musical group Portland Taiko has been around since 1994, and since then they've been educating others about Japanese and Asian American culture.
It's that drum beat, it's the pulse that attracts people, and I think brings everyone together, right? Because we all have a heartbeat, we all feel that pulse.
It's the energy, the beats, the movements, and the loudness that grab your attention. This is Portland Taiko.
Taiko is a Japanese drumming tradition that blends music and movement. And for Portland Taiko, we combine that with an Asian American sense of identity, creativity, and empowerment.
Win Kiyama, the executive director, says in many cultures, the drum is the earliest musical instrument besides the voice. And Taiko started as a drumming phenomenon back in the 1950s.
And now you'll find Taiko groups all across the world.
Portland Taiko has performed throughout the Pacific Northwest, sharing their music and their passion in over 1,500 performances.
today we performed for you Ha, which is one of the group's signature pieces. It was written by Christy Oshiro and Karen Tingy, and it has a lot of movements and just kind of a high energy propulsion.
Taiko is kind of like an exercise and an performing art form together.
But like many organizations, they moved to online during the pandemic. And when we met with the team, they were practicing on these tires. Meredith Chan is the artistic leader and performance coordinator.
We worked on building tire taiko so they're not as loud, so we keep the neighbors happy here. So they're not exactly like real taiko, but they do give like kind of the same feel, and they have that deep sound.
They were finally able to leave Zoom rehearsals and play together again.
Taiko has given us a vehicle to have a voice, and in a way to like protest and bring everybody together.
Portland Taiko came together back in March to perform at a Stop Asian Hate rally following the murders of 6 Asian women in Atlanta.
We hadn't met in person for, gosh, a year. So we were asked to perform at one of those rallies, and the group thought it was really important for us to be there, to perform for the Asian American community.
This art form is intrinsic to not just the Asian American community, but for those who stop to listen.
I want them to feel inspired. I want them to feel empowered.
As you can tell, taiko is kind of infectious, not only to performers, but hopefully for the audience members as well. It's a visceral experience. And for Asian Americans, I think there's that sense of creating a loud noise and a big presence is important for us.
Pretty cool, right? That was Jacqueline Abad reporting. Well, coming up next here at 11 o'clock, wildfires raging across the West. We're checking in on the largest blaze in California's history. Sally.
Smoky skies will remain for your weekend, plus more on the hot, hazy, and gusty conditions kicking in for your Sunday. Your full 8-day forecast up ahead.
By Silver State Refrigeration and HVAC.
The Dixie Fire in Northern California is the largest of more than 100 blazing battlegrounds in the West. CBS News correspondent Liliac Luciano reports now from Los Angeles.
Extreme drought, intense heat, and powerful winds are fueling the Dixie Fire that has ravaged town after town in Northern California's Sierra Mountains.
The impact of this fire is pretty tremendous, pretty tragic.
The blaze is now the largest active fire in the country, charring almost 500,000 acres, scorching an area that's roughly the size of Houston. Despite the efforts of thousands of firefighters, California's wildfires have turned hundreds of homes to rubble and ash.
It's hard to drive away from your house and wonder if you're going to see it again.
Smoke from the Dixie and other nearby fires are choking Northern California skies.
It hit me like a ton of bricks.
And blanketing parts of Utah. This time-lapse shows the smoke rolling through Salt Lake City. Air quality ranging from unhealthy to hazardous is impacting at least 8 western states.
I think it's frustrating.
It's like this every year. It's like we can never get a year away from it.
And in Lake Tahoe, Tamarack, this 6-month-old black bear escaped from rescuers. The partially burned cub was last spotted by hikers on Thursday, clinging to a tree with his bandaged paws. Tamarack has been on the run since he dug his way out of a wildlife center that was treating him.
Wildlife officials hope to rescue Tamarack a second time as he continues to venture off into the Smoky Woods. They fear he may not make it on his own. Here in Southern California, we're not seeing smoke, but the air quality is poor and the risk of wildfire high with high winds and low humidity. Lilia Luciano, CBS News, Los Angeles.
The Dixie Fire is now the largest single wildfire in California's history. And all that smoke from the fires is affecting our air quality here in the valley. Take a look at this video from earlier today. As you can see, that smoke was thick, Sally. I felt it this morning when I was outside, and it's really unhealthy, not very safe to stay outside too long when it's this smoky, right?
Right. That's what we tell you, to limit your time outdoors. It was heartbreaking when you were expecting to see that sunrise, yet you saw those smoky, hazy skies. Outside right now, mostly clear conditions, but that air quality will remain unhealthy all weekend long. Once again, reminding you, please be safe out there. Want to show you that high so far, 105 for today. That normal temperature, 103. We were close, but yet slightly above normal. Lows for tonight will be of 81 degrees. Every time we reach the triple digits, Silver State Refrigeration and HVAC is giving $100 to vets and pets. Outside right now, we're still tracking warm temperatures. Aliante 87, North Las Vegas 93. The Strip 94, Mountains Edge 85, Anthem 88, Whitney Ranch 95. And while those skies have cleared, tomorrow we're going to see another influx of that smoke and haze rolling by. Current temperatures for Amargosa Valley 83, Pahrump 86, Mesquite following that, in Boulder City 92 for you right now. Definitely saw a lot of haze, a lot of smoke, much of which will continue back again for tomorrow. Before we start to talk more about the return of monsoon and moisture, mainly impacting northwest Arizona starting around Monday, eventually making its way into the Las Vegas Valley. We're keeping a closer look at those rain chances, and we're going to show you that it looks to increase around Tuesday, a 15% chance, mainly for our higher terrain being impacted. It looks like the Las Vegas Valley could be impacted as early as next weekend. Wind speeds will remain light and variable, but we do look to increase back again for the afternoon, mainly impacting areas such as Mountains Edge, Spring Valley, the Lakes, Summerlin, Centennial Hills. This will kick in around 2 o'clock, and it will go all the way until that sun sets down. Tomorrow, increasing temperatures back again. We do have another round of sunshine along with that smoke, that haze, very uncomfortable out there. Temperatures increasing around 1 o'clock to 104, around 4 p.m. 107. So here's a closer look at when all that haze is looking to clear away. We will show you haze is still possible around Monday into that Tuesday. That's when it looks to clear. Temperatures rolling back closer to normal. Tomorrow, the mountains still seeing that smoke and haze. Temperature-wise, 82 degrees. Lake Mead, 112, along with plenty of sunshine, and then afternoon widespread haze. Tonight, 81 degrees, mostly clear out there. And here's a quick look back again at your 8-day forecast, bringing you plenty of sunshine. Temperatures dropping closer to normal, and the return of that monsoon of moisture making its way back into the valley. Back to you, Sasha.
Sally, a deadly crash involving a pedestrian caused closures at Eastern and Sahara today. Metro Police say one person was hit by a motorhome. According to witnesses in video surveillance, the motorhome was stopped at a red light in the right turn lane. When the light turned green, the pedestrian walked into that motorhome, which ran them over. The driver showed no signs of impairment, and this collision is still under investigation tonight. Reparations for the demolition of the aging Desert Inn Road Bridge begins next week. Drivers should expect several lane and ramp closures between Boulder Highway and Flamingo. NDOT asks those using those roads to, of course, be careful and find another route if you can. Head to 8 News Now for a full list of dates, times, and areas closed. Meantime, federal funding will make it possible for Nevadans to access a better transit service. The RTC is enhancing transit access and equity in underserved areas here in southern Nevada. The service's changes includes new routes, several extended routes, and the restoration of weekend service in areas like Alta and Stewart, along with Vegas and Owens. There will also be more frequent services along Charleston. The service changes will provide access to over 180,000 people and will help connect 7,000 resort corridor employees who did not have access to transit before. In the sky, trouble continues for Spirit Airlines with more cancellations and delays. After checking McCarran's website tonight, several flights have been canceled and delayed. Earlier in the week, the airline released a statement stating the problems were due to weather and, quote, operational challenges. No word on when it might get better. Well, don't fly anywhere just yet. John is joining us with sports. What's new tonight, John?
We actually got aviators.
Yeah, oh, look at that.
Well done.
It's full circle. It all comes together.
But first, we got Raiders. An update. We'll hear from a receiver who wants to catch all the passes and competition that comes his way. Plus, Team USA loaded with Las Vegas aces, good as gold. Sports is next.
We're just heating up all summer long.
The face of the Aces in Las Vegas basketball, A'ja Wilson, won a national championship at South Carolina. She won the Rookie of the Year and MVP in her first 3 seasons as a pro. And now she is a gold medalist for the United States of America. Not to make you feel all inferior, but A'ja Wilson turned 25 years old today. To the surprise of absolutely no one in the world, Wilson filled up the stat sheet with 19.7 rebounds, 5 assists, and 5 blocks for America. And the U.S. ladies won their 7th straight gold medal in basketball by beating the home team Japan 90-75. There is nothing the United States does better than women's basketball. Aces guard Chelsea Gray added 6 points in the historic win. The expectations were towering in Tokyo for Bishop Gorman grad Vashti Cunningham. The United States champion cleared 1.96 meters or 6'5". She was in contention for her first Olympic medal, but her jump was not high enough to find the podium. She finished 6th place. The champion was a woman from Russia who cleared 6 feet 8 inches. The good news, Vashti is 23. The gold medalist is 28. In the last minute of today's practice, the ball was put on the 1-yard line. 1 down for 1 yard. After 2 hours of mostly touch football, what followed was the violent collision of men and the startling crashing of desire. John Gruden wants to know which Raiders won it most. Even in the silver and black haze of Saturday's morning skies, the Raiders work to get closer to game day ready. The first preseason matchup is 1 week from today. There are 90 guys in camp fighting to make the final 53-man roster. The investment is evident, and so is the depth at some positions. The wide receiver room is an especially crowded one. Many talented guys would shy away from that smoke. Not Zay Jones. It lights a fire in the 26-year-old pass catcher from East Carolina.
I'm a competitor. I knew it would be a competitive room, and I really enjoy this place. I took a risk moving here, buying a home here. That was something I did after that season that we had in Oakland, and I really wanted to establish myself on this team. And I built a really good rapport with Derek over a long off-season in the 2020 COVID season. And it wasn't something that I was quite ready to just give up on or move away from. I really wanted to plant some roots down and really establish myself and become a part of this team and really prove that I belonged here and I could do something helpful for this football team.
Las Vegas Ballpark is a perfect venue for Aviators baseball, but it's also ideal for the city to show off its own athletes, performers, achievers. It's a must-stop spot in the summer. 7,000 fans at Las Vegas Ballpark got to see a real-life Olympic silver medalist, Erica Sullivan, a Palo Verde grad and the pride of the Sandpipers of Nevada Swim Club. She captured hardware and history in Tokyo with a 2nd place in the 1,500-meter freestyle. She's 20 years old and already one of the glimmering lights of Team USA. But she's from one place, Las Vegas, Nevada. Unfortunately, that's where the good feelings and great memories stopped. They did not overflow onto the diamond. The Salt Lake Bees beat the Aviators 5-2, but the homestand continues tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Finally, it's hard to put into words what it was like walking outside today. Thankfully, we have a crestfallen Mets fan to help us. We are in the middle of this pandemic. We need fresh air, but current quality conditions are unhealthy for sensitive groups as well as non-sensitive groups, pets, plants, and I wouldn't even leave that White Claw sitting on the porch for very long. This is all of us just longing for the days when the sun was a psycho, but at least we could see it.
I think that was all of us waking out and looking out the window today.
I know.
Right? It was very disappointing. Although it kept it a little cooler. I guess that was...
It did, but I was like, are we on Mars?
That's what it felt like. We're in like a horror movie or something. That's kind of how I thought of it. All right. Well, still ahead tonight, we are heading to the San Diego Zoo to meet their newest furry friend.
Every Sunday morning between 6 and 6:30.
Live, this is 8 News Now, Weekend Edition.
Tickets are now on sale for the Animal Foundation's 18th annual Best in Show. Dogs and new this year, kittens will compete in several categories. All of the animals will, of course, be available for adoption. This takes place on Sunday, September 26th at the Thomas and Mack Center. Tickets just $5. The event will also be live streamed for those who can't make it in person. A rock and roll legend will be bringing his talents as Vegas's newest resident. Gene Simmons has confirmed with 8 News Now a KISS residency is happening December 27th through February inside Planet Hollywood. Pretty exciting. Meantime, 24-hour bingo coming back to Arizona Charlie's. The event is next Friday, August 13th at 9 a.m. It will include a raffle with a grand prize drawing at 7 a.m. on Saturday. There's also the chance to win free slot play, bingo rainbows, and mystery prizes. All bingo players who participate during that 7 a.m. session on Saturday will also receive a branded t-shirt. What a deal. And finally, here at 11, the San Diego Zoo has just announced the birth of a Southern Tamandawa pup. The little girl was born on July 21st. Look at her, and still doesn't have a name. She's the firstborn to parents Cora and Fernando. Wildlife care specialists say she's healthy, and Cora is being a very good mother, nursing, cleaning, grooming her baby, and giving her constant attention. I wish I could adopt her. I love her. She's adorable.
How creative is God? I mean, no one could have planned this type of animal. Like, this is the most interesting living thing I've ever seen.
She reminds me a little bit of an anteater, kind of, you know, like that whole same nose thing going on. She's like the markings. You're right, it is very creative.
She reminds me of nothing.
No
This is the most bizarre thing I've ever seen.
John is blown away.
Yeah.
All right, well, that's it for us. We'll see you tomorrow.